Hello and welcome back to Blue Geek Sports on the Blue Geek Reviews channel, and today's video is a roundup of um, everything that happens on the opening weekend of the new Premier League season. Now I will admit, um, I, I've only seen highlights of all bar two games. The only game I did manage to watch live was the Manchester United Leicester game, which kicked off the season on Friday. For some reason, Sky Sports on their Snapchat page didn't have a highlight video for the Bournemouth Cardiff game, so I can't really um, uh, judge anything on that game, as I only know the result and who scored, and I didn't um, see any of the highlights from the Southampton Burnley game either. But what I did see, I'll just give my thoughts on. So starting with Manchester United Leicester on Friday night, um, I thought it was a really drab game. I did think United will go on to win more comfortably than they did, especially after the flying start they made through Paul Pogba's penalty in the second minute, which I felt was a little bit harsh on Leicester. It was a handball, but it wasn't a deliberate handball, as it were. Uh, but after that, Leicester played really well. United United looked really sluggish. They did finally get a second goal with a first senior goal for Luke Shaw, which was well taken. But Leicester can count themselves unlucky not to get anything out of the game. They missed the chance just before they did when Jamie Vardy shinned a volley over the bar, high over the bar. But he did get on the score sheet in the end. Very fortuitous goal. That United should have really defended better. But it is United who start off with the win. But as I said, they didn't really play that well. Saturday's action kicked off at St James's Park. Spurs welcome back some of their World Cup contingent for this one. In particular, Harry Kane and Dele Alli. Ali got what proved to be the winner in the game in just the 18th minute. Video technology gifted Tottenham the lead. I believe they judged the Jan Vertonghen's header as being over by mere millimeters, and on the CG image of the goal frame, it was very, very tight. Joselu got the Newcastle goal, really good header from ball in. I did see a few seconds of the action when I was on my lunch break. I went to put my football bets on, and they had it up on the screen in the betting shop. A really good chance that Newcastle didn't take, but Spurs held off. They're off to a winning start, as are Chelsea under Maurizio Sarri. They bounced back from last week's Community Shield defeat to City by beating Huddersfield 3-0. From the highlight to scene, Chelsea were pretty dominant. two really good goals from Kante and Pedro at the side of a debut goal for Jorginho from the penalty spot. Can't really judge Huddersfield on this opening day, as they would have been expected to lose to Chelsea anyway. The real test would be how Huddersfield bounce back from this. Cardiff, first game back in the top flight, they lost to Bournemouth. As I said, I haven't seen any highlights. They weren't available on Sky Snapchat. But Bournemouth off to a good start, as they once again start the season as Premier League sides. Watford beat Brighton. Watford, it's hard what to make of Watford sometimes. They can play some really good stuff, but they can also be a bit sluggish. But from the highlights I've seen, they did look in control of this one. Two really good goals from Pereira. But what is up with Watford's kit? If you haven't seen it, Watford for some reason have gone with a black and yellow striped kit for the season, rather than their traditional yellow and red. Brighton, they'll be disappointed to get off to a losing start on their second Premier League campaign. So they'll be looking to bounce back next weekend. Fulham, their first game back in the top flight. London derby against Palace. They spent big in the summer, especially on deadline day. Well, it was two Palace regulars who give them the win. Jeffrey Schlupp scored a really good goal in the first half to put them in front. And Wilfred Zaha was subject of transfer speculation over the summer. He's still a Palace player. He wrapped things up in the second half. So perfect end to perfect week for Palace, having performed really well on deadline day, and Roy Hodgson signed a brand new contract on Friday. As for my team, Everton, after a pretty poor pre-season, we actually performed really well on Saturday. I watched somewhat extended highlights of the game on the club's official website last night when I got home from work. Richarlison, what a signing he is going to turn out to be for us. Two really smart finishes. The second one, as I said to one of my friends in work yesterday, the finish was very reminiscent of Thierry Henry and his pomp. The one black mark was the dismissal of Captain Phil Jagielka. I haven't seen it a couple of times. I personally didn't think it was red card. That's just me being biased. And apparently the officials can't decide what the charge is for. I've seen it. They give it for dangerous foul play at first, and then all of a sudden they got changed to denying a goal scoring opportunity. If it's the former, he'll only miss the Southampton game next Saturday. If they stick to the fact that it's the latter, then he could be out for the rest of the month. In fact, we've only got two more games, possibly three, with a League Cup tie before the month's out, so you miss all three of those games. Wolves didn't look like a team ready to play in the top flight. They did spend big in the summer. Um, they scored two really good goals. I'll give them that. But there's a bit of controversy over Ruben Neves' goal. Where the actual foul by Jagielka was where the free kick should have been taken. But because of where the player that got tackled, Jota, where he landed is where the referee had the free kick position from, which is 5 yards further up near the box. But it was a really good free kick. There's been some criticism on Jordan Pickford over it, mainly from Everton fans on their forums. Personally, I wouldn't blame Jordan too much. It's easy to forget of most of the country weren't known, but Saturday's game was actually John Pickford's first club game since the World Cup. He was on the bench for the pre-season game against Valencia the previous weekend, but didn't make it onto the pitch. So he got thrown straight back into the team after only a week of training. So he might have been a little bit rusty, but I'm not putting too much stock into it. The second goal could have been preventable. It was a good header from Raul Jimenez on his debut, but after playing so long with 10 men to get points, would have loved to have seen us get all three, but I'll take a point to start with. Hopefully, I believe new signings Yerimina, Bernard, and Kurt Zuma are all training from today, so hopefully a 4 weeks training behind them, they should be ready to go against Southampton next week. Speaking of Southampton, again another game I didn't see any highlights from. Burnley coming back from a trip to Turkey in the Europa League. They've had a bit of a sluggish start, really. Having to start early because of the European commitments. They only just managed to scrape past Aberdeen in the second round. They needed extra time to do that. They drew in Istanbul against Başakşehir on Thursday. They didn't really make any transfers until last week in the run-up to the game, which wasn't ideal either. So 0-0 probably a fair result. I don't see Burnley struggling, even though they do have European commitments. Southampton I could possibly see struggling. I've probably jinxed it considering Everton play them next week. But so yeah, nothing really to write home about from that game. Liverpool off and running, they thumped big spending West Ham. From what I've seen of the game, it looked very comfortable for the Reds. I believe West Ham were trying to do what most teams do in Anfield by trying to play a high line and kept getting caught out. Two of Liverpool's main men back on the mark. Of course, Mo Salah, last season's top scorer. He opened the scoring. Sadio Mane got two of the goals. Daniel Sturridge back of the Reds after a disaster of a loan spell at West Brom. He got the fourth. So that's four of the title challengers off and running with wins. The fifth and the reigning champions, Manchester City, followed up last week's win in the capital in the Community Shield by going across to North London to the Emirates to spoil Unai Emery's first game in charge with a somewhat comfortable looking 2-0 win over Arsenal. Raheem Sterling, after a summer where he was under intense media scrutiny, didn't really perform as well as he'd liked in the World Cup, but he bounced back big time here. He scored his 50th Premier League goal with the opener, and then Bernardo Silva scored a really good goal to wrap things up for the champions. Arsenal, based on highlights, seem to do okay. Judging by feedback on forums from Arsenal fans, they did play okay. I haven't seen Arsenal fan TV, so which I usually do after an Arsenal defeat. I haven't really seen the videos for them just yet. So yeah, that was first weekend of the Premier League season. All bar the Southampton game had goals in them, which is a good sign. We also had the markers for quickest goal this season with Paul Pogba's goal on Friday, the first red card of the season with Phil Jagielka's dismissal. The new boys, as far as the new boys go, 1 point between the three of them isn't really a good start. But of the three, you'd have probably expected Cardiff not to pick anything up. Fulham, possibly could have seen them doing better against Palace. And Wolves, they should have really, from a personal point of view, they should have really taken more advantage over us having the extra man. They didn't. And probably Everton should have beaten them. But I'm not complaining too much. So that is it for this episode of Blue Geek Sports. I will be back on Thursday with a preview of weekend 2 of the Premier League season. Another big game next weekend is the feature game on Saturday night, the tea time game. That's at Stamford Bridge where Chelsea meet Arsenal. I'll preview all 10 games on Thursday. Just a quick update on some other videos that might be coming. Also on Thursday will be the debut edition of my new wrestling segment. I haven't come up with a name for it just yet. That will be a preview of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn and SummerSlam as both events take place this weekend coming. Possibly there might be a third video. I may record it Thursday but upload it Friday. It all depends. It could be an update video. It all depends if I pick anything up on my way into work this evening. Hence why I'm wearing my uniform at the moment. Um, that's that's a possible, but absolutely definite will be Blue Geek Sports Premier League preview and the new wrestling segment. So definitely look out for them videos coming on Thursday. Until then, like, share, subscribe, comment down below what you made of the opening weekend of the season. This has been Blue Geek Sports on the Blue Geek Review channel. I've been the Blue Geek. Goodbye for now.